Come to spring
Are we
practice?
not having a spring game?
No, we're not going to have a spring game.
Wow.
Right now, there is nothing. There's no rules.
That college coaches are considering an NFL-style OTA.
You're kidding.
A replacement for the spring game amid roster and tampering and injury concerns.
The transfer portal and the NIL deals are single-handedly killing the game that you might have loved. College football is never going to be the same. It's the natural evolution of things, but it's happening a lot. And now even these small little things that are part of the culture of college football, the things that make college football great, that separate them from NFL, are slowly dwindling away. Now, we made a video, I think a few weeks back, about how Matt Rule was going to go ahead and cancel the spring game. And he was just kind of talking about it in XYZ, but now it's come out that Texas, my Longhorns, are canceling their spring game, as well as USC has followed suit. So we're going to listen to some of their interviews, see what they have to say, see some of those reasonings. A big deal has to do with NIL. Texas's reasoning is a little different, I will say. So, hey, man, I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? When you compete for championships, it's a little different. We NFL level. But, hey, man, if you like these videos, transfer portal videos, NIL updates, different things like that, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't like it, subscribe if you enjoy these videos. Let's hop right into it. Let's hear from Sark on Kay Adams' show. See, that's the thing about Kay Adams. She be getting people chuckling, boy.
Plans
She be
to
getting
come
up
back for
out
this
of you, dog.
Out to the spring game? Is that?
A spring practice. You want to come to
Are
spring
we not
practice?
having a spring game?
No, we're not going to have a spring game.
Wow! Breaking news! You're the
Yeah.
best coach, Sark. And we're just.
Well, I think a couple reasons why. Over the last 2 years, we've played 30 games.
Yeah,
And that's
wear
a
and
lot
tear.
for college football. 14 2 years ago, 16 this year. And I just mentioned we've had 25 guys get invited to the NFL Combine the last 2 years. So we've got a lot of young players on our roster. We have 21 mid-year high school kids that just showed up. And so the development that's needed for these guys to get ready for the fall is a little bit different than it used to be. And so our approach is going to be a little bit more NFL-driven, kind of more of an OTA style early on. And as we grow into more of the scrimmage formats in the second half of spring ball, that I just don't know rolling the ball out, playing the game, when we only get 15 practices is the best for us to maximize the opportunities that we get. So it's going to be a little bit of a different approach, but I think college football is changing right now.
Yeah.
And we need to do a great job as coaches of adapting to college football. And that's what we're trying to do, and I think it's going to be good for our team.
Now, his reasonings were a little bit different than Matt Rule. Obviously, Matt Rule came out and said, actually, well, I don't know why I'm telling you what Matt Rule said. Let Matt Rule tell you what he said.
I don't know that yet, but I'll be honest with you, I highly doubt it. And I think it's really fundamentally, I hate to say it like this, it's really because, last year we're one of the more televised. We were one of the more televised spring games, and I dealt with a lot of people offering our players a lot of opportunities after that. So to go out and bring in a bunch of new players and then showcase them for all the other schools to watch, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The word tampering doesn't exist anymore. It's just absolute free, open, common market. And so I don't necessarily want to open up to the outside world. I don't want these guys all being able to watch our guys and say, wow, he looks like a pretty good player. Let's go get him. But I don't know yet. I don't know anything. I thought it was important that, we at least started to broach that subject of it not being televised. Yet at the same time, I do want to show off our players in some way. So what exactly it'll be yet,
But so you see the conundrum that this puts with coaches, right? So let's talk a little more strictly about the spring game and kind of what it means, because I kind of alluded to, the culture part of it. And if you're not familiar with college football and you're not familiar, you don't have maybe a college football team, near you, right? I'm in the vicinity of Georgia. I'm not really close to it. I'm a far drive, but I've known people from Georgia, known people that went to Georgia, the G-Day, right? Spring games are one of the more exclusive things when you go and enjoy it, where it's like, this is about the team only. Right now, more games, you're right, you're there to support your team, but there's not going to be a lot of other games where there's more like the student ratio, the alumni, everyone's there. Besides like a homecoming game, right? There's not going to be a lot of times where you have this much of a concentration of people just for your team, because it's just your spring team, right? After the college kids, after that, you got your tailgating, beforehand, and then afterwards you do it. So like, it's a whole simulated game day. Like, if you're not familiar, you're not in the South, because I'm not sure if it's the same in the North, but in the South, it's like full, oh yeah, we're just going to do like a regular tailgate on this day. I think they're on Thursdays. I think they're on Thursday or Saturday. I forget. Again, I haven't personally gone to them. It's too much alcohol from easy. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on. But it makes me sad that like this is still a very important thing, and especially if you go to an HBCU, like spring games, that's like a whole nother thing. That's another mini homecoming, right? So whether it's a PWI, whether it's an HBCU, whether it's a Nebraska, a Texas, whether it's a smaller college game, like this is not something that is a big deal with football, and that's why like these college coaches can so easily cancel it, because from a football perspective, you don't really need a spring game. Like, dog, if you've ever played football, coaches hate the spring game. And this is no funny. I didn't mean to get into this story. There was a spring football game where we had 2 starting players tear their ACLs in one spring game. 2 starting players coming into the next season tore their ACLs, dog. That was the craziest thing I had ever seen. That whole season was cursed. I remember. I think that was the season I tore my ACL. Man, that was a wild season. Y'all want to hear more about it, let me know. But coaches hate spring games. So you talk about injuries. Cause I know Sark's reasoning was a little more, hey, we played a lot of games. They have played a lot of games, right? They played a lot. This is back-to-back semifinals, and then this is a semifinal with the 12 teams, so it was an extra game, XYZ, right? And then SEC championship, Big 12 championship, right? These are just all these extra games that kind of pile up XYZ. So while I think that's a great reasoning, and I think it's going to be a good thing, that kind of aligns back to the whole, look, coaches never even wanted this thing. They don't want another excuse to cause more injuries, cause more problems, just lose a player outright from that. And then on top of that, with the NIL, with the transfer portal, dog, I mean, do y'all remember Mr. Caden Proctor? Since just in case y'all want to have a bad memory, who came in here and snatched up Iowa's money. Now, the real story is that he just signed a little NIL deal. He got paid for what he did and left. But still, the idea that he was able to go from Alabama to Iowa, sign his money in his hometown, and then get up out of there and go right back to Alabama because of the spring transfer portal, we have to, like, here it is, January 18th, Caden Proctor, this is the normal, they can just do this now. Caden Proctor enters the transfer portal. Proctor announces transfer to Iowa, reveals Iowa tampered. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, I forgot he did that. He goes on the mic and reveals that Proctor tries to expose Iowa for, not tries to expose, but in a sly way, like on accident, he exposes they were tampering. And then February 1st, Iowa self-reports violation that he talked about. March 19th, Proctor reportedly set to return to Alabama. That's crazy. So this is a big reason. Here's another reason, right? And these are other guys entering the transfer portal. You got an Oregon offensive tackle entering the transfer portal. That's not huge. Then you have the story of, and this might need to be its own video. Y'all let me know. Jaden Mickey, who initially he redshirted for Notre Dame. Then he committed to Cal. Committed and signed to Cal. Notre Dame cornerback Jaden Mickey has signed with Cal, according to Pete Narcos, right? Narcos, I apologize. And then here he is announcing 1 year ago, God brought you home at Namika Nicola. I don't know who that is. This one's for you, mama. Committed. And in honor of Mama Mickey, he signed and did all this stuff. And I would love to say this isn't even the spring transfer portal problem. This is just the transfer portal problem. Because, again, he's already signed. He already transferred and signed to a team. And then he signed to Boise State like a day ago. And I was just scrolling through because I thought it was a dead period right now in the transfer portal. And then I found out another thing. Apparently, if you're a graduate, you can enter the transfer portal anytime you want and sign with a school. There are no rules in the transfer portal. And then you got people like Xavier Lucas. That's a whole other can of worms. But just sticking on this spring era, right? Because we're about to get into the spring. Homie just changed teams before the portal even opened. We're in a dead period right now. And somehow he switched his commitment to Boise State in a transfer portal dead period. We got problems, dog. So I understand that Sark, he might say it's because of wear and tear. And I appreciate him for saying that. But y'all remember what happened to Colorado last year? And I hate to, because everybody gets mad. You're big about Colorado. I'm sorry, y'all clearly like Colorado videos. I make videos about everything else. Y'all clearly like Colorado videos, so we're gonna use them just as an example. They lost like, what was it, 14 players just to open up. I think it was a totality of 32 players in that spring transfer portal, and everybody was looking like at Deion Sanders like he had his head cut off. Dog, this spring transfer portal is about to get nasty. And then when you think about all the players that are just sitting in the portal, the Jaden Rashadas of the world, and then you have to think, if you're a team, even the guys you just signed could leave. The guys you signed could leave before the portal opens, dog. So, I have to lean on the transfer portal and these NIL deals. Now, I really hope he didn't get poached. Like, this is a crazy story. He committed for his mom. I believe his mom passed away. He's got this whole little tribute video that Cal made a whole tribute video for this dude, dog. Like, this is, and he's shouting out his mama. I mean, this is cool. This is classy, man. There he is doing it bigly. And I really hope we don't come, to find out that maybe, something nasty happened or something was promised or something, was kind of out of frame or out of range or whatnot. But it's crazy to me that he at one point, December 28th, he's talking about how this is one's for his mom, his I'm assuming his late mom. And then, oh yeah, by the way, I'm signed to Boise State. If that has to do with money, you know what I'm saying, we got some real problems. Alabama recruiting coach. That's why I watch him, right? Some people might not agree with him, but I'd rather watch him than Jason Bryan, okay? I think he has really good insights. Just to kind of wrap this whole situation up, and then I'll kind of give my last comments on the whole situation here.
That college coaches are considering an NFL-style OTA.
You're kidding.
A replacement for the spring game amid roster and tampering and injury concerns.
Really?
Well, no shit.
How about that?
How about that? Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable.
Have you ever heard of the?
Who would have
ever thought of that? So this goes out to our good friends at CBS Sports. Well, no shit.
I heard some football coaches are thinking about killing spring.
Yeah, shocker.
You don't say.
All kidding aside, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I don't know how many episodes we've talked about this. Probably 10, maybe 15.
Oh, I couldn't even begin to guess.
Somewhere in there.
At least.
Look, it needs to happen. It's almost like, hey, look, CBS Sports, in case this does get back to you, hey, check this out. You ready for this? There's this thing called the NFL, okay? We have this model to follow. So the goal is to get college football into that model, because guess what?
But
that model works.
But there's even more to it than that. The NFL doesn't have to worry about players just deciding in May that they'll just declare free agency. If you're running a college program, I don't know that you really want to have practices in April before you get out of the transfer portal window.
Pre unrestricted free agency, you got a lot of use out of spring when you knew that your guys were locked in. Ever since there has been unlimited transfers and all that stuff, and the eligibility rule, not the portal, the eligibility rule, since those have changed, spring practice is useless as tits on a chicken.
Hey man, and maybe it helps that he's a little funny. They're a little funny too. But I mean, that's spoken from former people, working in college football or coached in college football. And like I said, just to kind of drive the point home, and I'll let him yap in the background on mute. Yeah, man, we're doing this thing with college, with NCAA, right? Where we're halfway NFL, right? And they've been predicting that. They've been talking about that, how it just needs to be able and adapt this NFL style, because if we're paying players, right? If we're allowing free agency, if we're allowing them to sign to other places and bounce around and go for financial needs, well, like they have in the NFL, there needs to be some sort of cap, regulation, rules. Right now, there is nothing. So when y'all see people tampering, all this other, the reason why he says tampering is real, because there's no rules for it. There is no rule. I've looked it up. I've tried to find exact rules on it. It's like, you can't talk to recruits, but what does that mean? Does that mean that you can't have your players talk to recruits? Like a lot of coaches have openly said happens. Does that mean you can't have, I don't know, a social media admin sending DMs? I don't know, dog. What I'm saying is there is no way for the NCAA to enforce their rules because, quite frankly, they don't want to enforce their rules. Why would they allow a second transfer portal window with unlimited transfer portals after having a portal 3 months ago? Like, what is the rule? Like, that doesn't even make sense. It's not good for the players. It's not good for these teams. Think about the uncertainty. We always talk about, oh, the fans. And I get the fans are going to suffer, and that was the biggest thing I was talking about, the culture part of college football and what makes college football great. Because, I mean, the spring games are usually not that good. It's not great football, but it's good. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great thing to see. It's a great thing to see passion for the game, especially at the collegiate level. But it has to. It inevitably has to change, and it will change, and it's going to change. If we're going to do all these other things and not enforce actual rules, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place where nothing really means anything. You have Xavier Lucas transferring without even entering the transfer portal. You have people signing deals and hopping around schools. You have people transferring, signing, and then that doesn't really matter because a sign doesn't really mean anything until you even enroll in the school. Hey, man, it's craziness. We're in the crazy world of college football. I really hope things get better. I hope we, and I don't even want to say get better because that's not the thing. I hope as we evolve, because this is what it is. It's an evolution. As this evolution gets here, we have to commit. It has to be, hey, we're going to enforce rules and go like a monetary system, kind of like there already is a Big Brother system there. How about we just copy them with less resources? That just seems pretty easy. But, hey, man, you never, man. Hey, long live college football, man. Y'all be great. Y'all be amazing. Like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't like. Subscribe if you enjoy college football content, NIL coverage, trying to put updates, man. We'll see you next time. Peace.